In this episode of the Leadership Hustle, we'll give you some techniques on how to create an environment that's more engaging for not only you, but your employees. Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Hustle for executives whose companies are growing fast and need leaders who are ready. Hi there, and welcome back to the next episode of the Leadership Hustle. I'm Andrea Fredrickson.
I'm Michelle Hill.
And we're here to discuss employee engagement, everybody's favorite topic.
Yay.
But really, this is a true story. I'm working with a group of people, senior people in an organization. There's 16 people going through this course. And it's been we're halfway through the class, and this guy in there simply said to me, I did not realize how much more engaged my people are now that I'm like talking to them and asking them questions. And you just shared a story that people say.
I've had people say, I didn't realize how disengaged I was with my team. The leader. Yeah. I didn't realize how disengaged I was with my team. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. And so I think we think leaders are always engaged.
Yes, we do.
But they're not, right?
Yeah.
And then we kind of talk about how unengaged, those that we lead tend to be. It's like, well, let's do some things that help promote more engagement. And trust me, before you turn off this podcast, this is not about throwing axes and, top golf games and pizza parties and stuff like that. This is more
bringing
about
in food. No.
How do you genuinely create an environment that is engaging for the people who work on your teams and your companies?
Yes.
So, what's like an overall theme, like in your head, Michelle? We're bringing up this subject. Where should we start?
Well, I think just like an overall theme when we talk about engagement, if we want to create an environment where people feel engaged, they need to feel valued. Mm-hmm. They need to feel as if they have a voice and that you're listening. So not just that they have a voice, but you're listening to them. And they need to feel like you freaking care.
Right.
So give a shit.
and that's the case. I mean, I was just talking to a guy last week. I said, you don't really seem like you really give a crap about your job. I don't. Why not? It's not that exciting. I don't really talk to anybody.
People send me managing?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Still not good, but I'm like, oh, damn.
Do you communicate with people? Yeah, through Teams. We chat now and then. I mean, I have lots of groups that like we talk about other stuff, but nobody really asks me many questions about. He says like, I'm just like doing my job. That's it. I'm like, so you ready to leave? I've been ready for years. And so he's and an upcoming episode and blog that I'm working on is this on the edge of mediocrity, right? Well, let's talk about that. Like our companies, if we don't improve the engagement of not only the people we lead, but the leaders of those people.
Yes.
Our companies are going to deliver mediocre results and mediocre service and mediocre everything, right?
Yes.
So, yes, people have to give a shit.
Yes.
People have to feel heard. People have to
feel valued, which is asking for their ideas, right? It's engaging them in, I've got a problem over here. Can you give me some ideas on how you might handle this? Or what are your thoughts on this? Or how would, I need some solutions. Blah, can't talk here. I need some solutions, right? Or some ideas on how I might proceed, where we are engaging each other.
Right. So in your classes, when you're teaching, yes, when you're working with your groups, what are things that you suggest that help beyond give a shit, make sure people feel valued, and make sure people are heard? Like, what are some of the activities? Are there things that you're asking them to do that help with this engagement?
Well, one of the first things is talking about stop solving problems, and you ask them on how to solve the problem.
Sure.
So, and also because this can be twofold. You notice a problem and then you just solve it and fix it, or you solve it and tell people what to do. Stop and start recognizing that there's a problem or a situation and go to the team to say, or an individual, depending on what it is, right? what ideas do we have? How do you want to solve this? And delegate the problem as well.
Right.
You don't have, or if, this one I've been bumping into quite a bit. Someone at a higher level asked another mid-level manager to do something.
Sure.
And that mid-level manager will put everything on hold and actually physically do it. And it's like, why are you doing it? Can't someone on your team do it?
They asked you to do it, not you personally to do it, right?
Correct. But see, there's a tension.
Yep.
They feel good. You've asked me. I'm getting attention.
Get the feels.
Yes. And it's like, give that to your people. It's not about you anymore. It's about them.
Right.
But so looking at just something every day. People every day have people that ask them questions. Right. And it's like, stop giving them an answer. Ask them what they think.
So I lump that into this topic. Believe in your people. It's not just give a shit and care about them, but it's like, believe they can. Believe that they can solve a problem. Believe that they can learn how to do it. Believe they can get the result. Believe that they can.
Yeah, believe in the potential.
I mean, I bring up people all the time. It's like, who was that person in your life that put their arm around their shoulder and said, you got this. I'm going to help make sure you get it.
You get there.
And all of a sudden your confidence goes up and you're,
correct.
Oh my gosh, now I'm interested in this. And what else can I do?
I'm engaged, right? It's right. The giving attention to your people, which if we're talking about managers, people that manage other people.
Right.
It's about making sure we're giving attention to all of our people and that we are challenging them. We're stretching them. They're not just hanging out here in status quo, because when they hang out in status quo, they get bored. They don't feel rewarded. They don't feel, like they're growing. And people want to grow. People want to get better.
Oh, the number of times.
Oh, but they're too busy. God. They're too busy. No.
Oh, they can't do that.
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know? I mean,
well, because they're too busy.
I could donate millions.
I know.
If
I know.
I had $1 for this. It's like, they can't
do
this.
We should start a jar in groups.
They can't do this, right?
Yeah, a couple jars. They're too busy. They can't do this, or it's not good enough.
All the reasons why it can't happen.
Yeah. So anytime you have a reason why it can't, you got to put a buck in.
Right. So
$20.
So what else? What else can we do? What else can we do?
What are things that? What are things that you're doing, that you've been?
So one of the things that I have put a lot of emphasis on, probably more recently in the last year and a half, is not just putting a person in the right role, because that sounds like, well, duh, right? But it is finding the things that a person does that gives them joy in a way where it's like, for example, things that the person does that they lose time just because they love doing it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be something like we're giving to the needy, which may give you joy, and we can do that. But every day, a person should get to do something that fills them with dopamine, that fills them with. This is my sign for dopamine. It's like they should get the feels, because I just get so involved in it. We've got a lady in our office that, oh my gosh, she loves to research. I will find it out. I mean, I know that it's a thing for her.
It's a big squirrel, and she doesn't take squirrels very often.
No, and I love that she does that, because I'm like, that is something that's like, I love learning, but I don't like to go find out, right?
Yeah.
And she is Sherlock Holmes to the nth, right? And so when she gets to do that, she's like, look what I found. Look what I found. And I love that she does that, because it's valuable to us that she can figure out that information. Everybody can find something in what they do.
Yep.
But we sometimes have to give them the opportunity to find out what that
sometimes they
thread
don't know.
is that tells them, oh my gosh, PowerPoints. Oh, I love analysis. Oh, I love data crunching. I love speaking in front of groups. Please don't make me do data crunching.
Yeah.
So that is the opposite of joy for me. But working with people. And so finding the thing that gives them joy is a way to keep them engaged in what's going on, and then ask them about it. Things like that too.
Well, and I was just with a group a couple of weeks ago, and a person gets promoted. Well, I'm just going to say to that, like an assistant manager. I'm just going to call it that. And the primary responsibility for that assistant manager is really focusing on training the rest of the team.
Okay.
They tend to promote great doers. So, and I know this, right? So they tend to promote great doers. And I asked the question of, have you created clarity in do they like training people? Do they like people? I mean, if you're going to have them training people, that needs to be one. Some people love that. Some people love, because it's like helping another person get better.
Yes.
It gives them energy, right? And it's like when you're putting someone in a role to train someone, they got to want to be there. They got to want to give that attention.
And you will see it on their face when they love something.
Yes. And
they talk about things.
Yes. And the other person who's getting the training, they're going to feel a hell of a lot better when that person is excited and energized and really helpful and caring versus this is how you do it. Don't do it any other way. And that's it.
That's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it here.
That's not how we do it here. I mean, you name it in a negative way. It's not necessarily developing them.
Right. So one last thing that we can do to help create a more engaging environment or helping our people be more engaged is take away or remove as many friction points as possible. I'm like, I can't tell you, like, we're going to add more, do more. It's like, okay, but can we automate something? Can we remove the possibility of errors on something? Can we do something that's gamified, right? So we can do some of those things, but what are the things that maybe there's, instead of 27 steps, there's 3.
Yeah.
Right? Or we can automate something so we don't have to touch it as often.
Yes.
There's all kinds.
I also challenge them to think about, if you're developing a person and they have a lot and we need to start eliminating some of the things they're doing, who else on the team needs to learn some of those things? Because then you delegate stuff from one team member to another team member. So now you're developing them while this person now has the real time to be able to do this new thing.
Sure.
Because we just get so in habits of, they do that, because they're really good at it, but then no one else does it.
So
and it's
no
like,
good deed goes unpunished. So that one person's punished for doing all the stuff.
Yes.
And they're the bottleneck.
Yes, you definitely, because you keep giving them stuff. But everyone needs to feel like they're growing and challenged. So it's evaluating what's everything this person's doing and who on the team, what's their skill levels on these different things, and who wants it, who wants to learn it, be involved, take it over, or whatever. Having those discussions on some frequency.
Right. Creating an environment where people are engaged is good business. Quality goes up. Employee retention goes up. The truth of what happens and the information that's being shared goes up.
Yes.
And just the ability for a person to be promoted into a different role because now they're being asked the questions and now they're learning and they're participating in new things, being asked questions and their response is valuable. It doesn't have to always be right. It has to be valued. Right. And so the topic of having an engaging environment, again, seems like, well, of course you have to have an engaging environment. But why do we run into so many organizations where people are just showing up? I'm just doing my job. And the only time we see the excitement is when they get to do that one thing that they absolutely love to do. It's like, how can we spend more time doing the things that they love to do? And so I challenge each of the listeners here to ask themselves the question, first of all, are you engaged? Do you feel joy in any aspect of the role that you have? And if not, how can you find that? How can you find the joy in what you do, right? And if that's one part of the question, but the second part is the question, as a leader of others, what can you do to help those that you lead find joy and find ways in which they can feel much more engaged in...
They want to be there.
They want to be there.
They care. They...
Not just checking the box.
Correct. Yes. We've got to eliminate the box checking.
Yeah. This episode is so important. It's just a little tiny component of what's important for businesses and leaders. But I think that if you put a little bit of attention to it, you can get some pretty big results.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. Yes. This is, it's a quick episode, but we really appreciate you following us and listening to the episode. So if you haven't joined or haven't followed us, do so you don't miss any of the other episodes.